the Liberal Caucus. She's a friend, and I've spoken with her a number of times about the importance of Arctic security and working together to ensure that there is Indigenous consultation and participation into the investments that we are putting into the North for Arctic security. As well as I spoke with the Foreign Minister of Bahrain this morning and confirmed that Canada will be co-sponsoring a resolution condemning the attacks against the Gulf countries. Canada will be sponsoring a United Nations Security Council resolution to condemn Iran and the attacks on Gulf states that it has been taking as a retaliatory measure. Those are completely unacceptable attacks, and Canada joins a number of countries to condemn Iran, and we reiterate that Iran should never have a nuclear weapon. Thank you.
What has changed since the 2024 order that is no longer a national security concern to have these TikTok offices in Canada?
So when it comes to TikTok, obviously, my statement is clear, and I think I would refer you to my statement.
Pour les créateurs, qu'est-ce qui va changer? Est-ce qu'il va y avoir de la monétisation, par exemple, des comptes au Canada?
Mais tel que indiqué dans ma déclaration, il va y avoir aussi des engagements de la part de TikTok dans l'investissement dans le milieu culturel.
Ça va prendre forme de quelle manière?
Ben, en fait, TikTok avait déjà soutenu différents créateurs. Donc, les engagements vont continuer, mais aussi on a augmenté les prérequis pour qu'ils augmentent leur financement de différentes institutions culturelles.
Votre député, Mme Joly, s'approcher dangereusement d'une majorité. Est-ce que ça veut dire que le gouvernement va venir en place encore 3 ans?
On est très content d'accueillir notre nouvelle collègue du Nunavut. Vous savez, pour nous, comme gouvernement, la protection et les investissements dans l'Arctique sont extrêmement importants. Et donc, vous allez voir au cours des prochains jours, prochaines semaines, à quel point on accorde l'importance. Ça fait des années qu'on parle de la souveraineté de l'Arctique. Ça fait des années qu'on dit qu'on veut investir davantage pour protéger cette souveraineté-là et créer des emplois dans l'Arctique. Là, concrètement... Okay, guys, I'll just finish the French, okay? So, je vais finir, ok? Donc, pour nous, l'Arctique, c'est important. Puis en Arctique, qu'est-ce qu'on veut faire? C'est bien entendu, on veut protéger la souveraineté de l'Arctique, mais on veut créer des emplois pour les gens en Arctique. Puis, vous savez, on a présenté une politique étrangère sur l'Arctique, on a changé notre position au niveau international sur l'Arctique, et ça a toujours été une priorité. Mais là, le premier ministre a vraiment un plan de match pour l'Arctique et pour faire des investissements en infrastructure en Arctique. Alors, vous allez avoir plus d'informations sous peu, mais je pense que notre nouvelle collègue, justement, veut être capable de faire partie de ces grands investissements-là et justement de ces priorités-là, parce que c'est ça qui va faire vraiment, qui va avoir un impact essentiellement pour les gens de sa circonscription, qui est le Nunavut, qui est une immense partie de l'Arctique. And wait, I'll do the English, and then I'll...
That was English.
No, but I need to translate. Okay, so on that, the Arctic region is extremely important to our government. We changed our foreign policy. We created a new Arctic foreign policy some time ago, which was all about not only involving people in the Arctic, working with our allies, but also fundamentally investing in creating jobs in the Arctic. And so these are not only words, these will be actions. And you'll see the Prime Minister in the coming days and months showing how much this is an important region for Canada and for the world, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. I'm convinced that our new colleague from Nunavut wants to get involved and show how much this is a priority for her people and for her as well. And so we're very delighted that she's coming.
Last question.
How do you make sure those jobs actually go to people in the Arctic? Even the government in Nunavut right now is struggling with Inuit employment rates with its own jobs.
Well, first and foremost, everything when it comes to the everything linked to the Arctic, it must be led by people in the Arctic, and that's been at the forefront of how we're dealing with the region. And second, there's two ways that the Arctic and northern regions have been very much able to create jobs. It was in the past through military involvement and investments, and also through a lot of natural resources and infrastructure development. We know we can do both. We have a new defense policy, a new defense industrial policy also to create jobs in the regions where we invest. And at the same time, we have a great approach when it comes to investing in more natural resources. And so that's why I think there will be concrete examples for people there. Thank you.
Lori Idlout crossing the floor. Did you play a role in her joining the Liberal Party?
Look, we're thrilled to have Lori as part of our caucus, our growing caucus. And Lori and I have worked together for years. Actually, she was my critic when I was the Minister of Indigenous Services Canada. So we've stayed in touch, and we have many of the same priorities. Thank you.
He's describing it as undemocratic to have MPs cross the floor without an election. What do you think of that? Is it?
No, I think, look, this is democracy. We all face our electors in an election. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for your constituency.
You've worked with Ms. Idlout in previous roles closely. What do you think she brings at this point?
Well, I actually think that you're right. Lori was my critic for many years as the Minister of Indigenous Services Canada, and we worked actually really well together. What you see in the House is sometimes not what's happening in the background, and we worked. I actually went to Nunavut and spent time with her in Nunavut. I think she brings a real understanding of the needs of people for sure in the north, and in particular Inuit, who often are a voice that's left out of this place, and so she's a strong representative of in particular Inuit voice, but I think of the needs of the north. And I also think that she has a long record of advocacy, which is for me an important ingredient in a member of parliament.
But do you think she guys offer something more, like promise something more for the north in order to bring her?
No, I think look, we've been really clear that the north is a priority for us from an Arctic security perspective, from a ensuring our sovereignty perspective, but also to make sure that people of the north feel that they are a very important part of Canada. And so I think she, hopefully, I would guess she's been hearing that message.
But do you think Ms. Idlout can continue her advocacy in the way she is now? And she's been very critical of the government and its record with the North. Do you have an expectation that she will kind of tamp that down now that she's part of the government?
Look, I think there's lots of different ways to do this job, and there's lots of people in our big tent of the Liberal Party, and I would say that is, as I just said, a big part of our role is to do that advocacy. And there's a lot of different ways to do advocacy. Even as a minister, there's ways to do advocacy for a perspective, for a population, or for an approach that maybe is not the one that's the majority perspective. Thank you.
I had what is included in the 6.6 billion figure that was not included?
I understand my office is working on that answer for you and should have it shortly. Yes. You'll have it. Yes, you'll have the.
Because it's been weeks.
What do you think of Lori Idlout joining your team?
Here, let me just step out of the way here. I don't want to block everybody. Look, I'm very excited. Lori's a terrific person. I had the opportunity to get to know her fairly well over our time working in Parliament together. I had the opportunity to visit her in her community before the previous election, invited her to take part in government announcements. She really cares about the people that she represents, and seemingly thinks that it's an opportunity to serve her community, to be part of the government.
Should a general election just be called by now? So voters can actually decide if they want a Liberal MP?
Look, my perspective is that nobody I'm talking to is asking for a general election right now, so long as Parliament's able to work. Lori has the opportunity to make decisions as to how she can best serve her own community. She is a welcome member of the team. I was texting with her yesterday evening saying congratulations and welcome. We're very excited, and I think she's very excited too.
Did you talk to her at all in the previous weeks about this possibility of crossing the floor?
I wasn't negotiating with her or anything like that over the past couple of weeks. We've look, not in such direct terms. After the last election, I reached out to her just to say, hey, congratulations on getting re-elected. If there's anything you think you can do to work with your community, with the government, let me know. But it wasn't necessarily with this outcome in mind, just trying to be a good partner. And look, Lori's been a great MP for her community, and I think that's going to continue in this new party affiliation.
What's your sense of why she made this decision?
Well, look, you should ask her. I never like to assume what people are thinking. I think the obvious assumption one would make is that she sees an opportunity to better serve her community as part of the government. But I think that's a question that Lori should answer. Thanks so much, everyone.
Democratic for MPs to cross the floor. Ms. Idlout obviously has joined your party today. What would you say in response to that?
Look, MPs have the opportunity to make decisions as to how to best serve their community, and I think Lori perceives that she has an opportunity to have a big impact for the people she represents from the government side of the House of Commons. I do find anytime you see a floor crossing, you sometimes see the political party who finds himself on the wrong end of it suddenly adopts a philosophy around floor crossings that maybe wasn't such a public position in other instances. Dawn may be more consistent than others in this regard, but my own view is that Lori is a valued member of Parliament, an excellent representative for her community, and we're thrilled to have her on the team.
Do you think the government can last another 3 years now?
Look, I think we just need to focus on the job that we have, which is good governance and delivering progress for Canada. I'm not going to concern myself too much about the timing of the next election, but rather the opportunity to wrestle with the challenges that the country's facing.
Vous avez publié une photo de vous avec Mme Idlout sur les réseaux sociaux. Est-ce que vous avez joué un rôle à l'attirer chez les libéraux?
Ce n'est pas une négociation officielle, non. Mais après la dernière élection, j'ai fait un appel juste pour, pas pour discuter des opportunités pour nous rejoindre. Je m'excuse pour le français. Mais juste pour faire une offre, si vous avez des choses qui sont importantes pour votre circonscription, je suis un ami, faites un appel si vous pensez il y a une opportunité pour obtenir des progrès pour Nunavut. Mais Lori's a friend. We've had the opportunity to work together. When I went to her community in my role as housing minister, we invited her to make the announcement for her community alongside us. We spent a couple of days getting to know her community. She built a tour for us, despite not being part of the same party at the time. Elle est une députée excellente. C'est un nouveau membre de notre équipe et c'est une bonne chose.
I want to ask about C9. Why do you think you haven't been able to convince, say, the hundreds of Muslim organizations that this clarifying language is going to satisfy the concerns that this removal of religious defenses will not infringe on freedom of religion?
Well, look, I think there's a lot of people who have sincerely held concerns because their faith is so important to them and central to their identity. We have, I think, an obligation to continue these engagements despite the progress we're making through the House of Commons. To the extent that the language that we've included in recent amendments, it doesn't go far enough to assure people that they're going to be able to continue to practice their faith, not only without fear of intimidation or obstruction, but without fear of prosecution. That's clearly not the government's intent. I would invite them to take part in the process that will unfold at the Senate. We're going to continue to maintain an open mind to take the feedback we're hearing from communities so we can ensure our intent is reflected in the text of the bill.
Are you open to further amendments to this bill? Then I understand it's supposed to be all wrapped up in committee going to the Senate, I think, by your government's hope this week.
Certainly, and in fact, I invite the Senate to consider how they may improve the bill. This is something that I've said since my first testimony at the committee, the Justice Committee, when I appeared. I actually believe in the role of Parliament here, and this is an enormous opportunity for the Senate to make a difference, should they see fit, to propose amendments. Clearly, the process on the House side of the Justice Committee had become dysfunctional, and I expect using the proposed amendments as a starting point, they can get this right.
Would you be open to an amendment that reinstates these religious defenses if that continues to be the area or one of the main areas of consternation? If the Senate decided to put that clause back in or the House decided to, that would you be open to an amendment like that?
Well, we want to make sure that we also maintain the support of a majority of members in the House of Commons. Obviously, in a minority context, we have a partner with the Bloc on this bill, given the vote yesterday in the House, and we want to maintain that opportunity to see the bill pass in its final form. So that will be part of the equation.
Conservatives are offering an olive branch to basically say, if you go back to what you campaigned on during the campaign, we'd be able to support the House. If you get rid of everything else in this bill, why not take up that option?
Yeah, one thing that we heard loud and clear, for example, is the standalone crime of hate that would treat more seriously crimes motivated by the identity of the victim. If you commit a crime against someone because of the color of their skin or the God they pray to or the person that they love, we believe that should have a higher degree of moral culpability. This is a key part of the bill that we don't want to compromise on. I'm late. I hear the cheers. I'm missing my new friend in Caucus here. My apologies.
Reactions for Lori Idlout joining the party?
I think it's fantastic. Way to go, Lori, for crossing the line. We've been doing a lot of work, just cross-party lines, focusing on the North and what's important to her and to our ministry. So really happy to see this.
What did you offer her?
Pardon?
Did you offer her anything?
Just offering her what we've been doing all along, which is working, to address the important issues of the North.
How did this come about? Do you have any insight into what went on behind the scenes in terms of getting her to join the party?
Well, I think it's something she's probably been contemplating for a while. I think, our government is strong and that she sees that, and there's huge opportunity in the north right now, particularly for Inuit Nanangat.
She's been very critical of this government and past governments as well. Do you expect her to, I guess, get in line and kind of hold back on some of that criticism, or do you think she is allowed to speak out about what her territory will need?
I think Lori really understands what her territory needs, and that's why she's crossed over. Thank you.
Est-ce que c'est correct, d'un point de vue démocratique, d'aller chercher une majorité en allant recruter dans d'autres partis? Ces gens-là sont élus sous une bannière quand même.
Ce que vous voyez, c'est que je pense que ça représente un peu l'esprit qu'on voit au pays, c'est que les gens se rallient derrière le Prime Minister Carney, les gens se rallient derrière l'agenda qu'on a mis de l'avant. Vous savez, on vit des moments uniques dans l'histoire mondiale et je pense que le plan qu'on a mis de l'avant pour la croissance économique, protéger les Canadiens, la souveraineté dans l'Arctique, évidemment, c'est le genre de choses qui interpellent mes collègues. J'ai dit, il y en a plusieurs qui se posent des questions, je pense, présentement, en disant, écoutez, c'est un agenda qui rallie les Canadiens, les sondages l'indiquent. Le monde veut faire affaire avec le Canada. On bâtit un Canada fort durant une période économique, une période géopolitique sans pareil. Alors, c'est pas surprenant de voir des gens qui disent, écoutez, c'est une grande tente, c'est un projet rassembleur, c'est le projet que les Canadiens veulent voir, et de vouloir s'associer à ça, je pense qu'il y a quelque chose d'assez naturel que les gens se posent des questions. Les gens disent, ben moi, je veux être à la table. Je veux être à la table des décisions, puis c'est ce que vous voyez présentement.
Est-ce que ça veut dire que ça éloigne la possibilité d'élection, ça? Ça veut dire qu'il n'y aura pas d'élection, disons, cette année ou l'année prochaine?
C'est pas à moi de décider cet aspect-là, mais ce que je peux vous dire, c'est qu'on a beaucoup de travail à faire. Vous voyez les derniers changements qu'on a vus au niveau géopolitique, au niveau géoéconomique. On a beaucoup de travail. On avait une réunion du G7 avant-hier plutôt. Alors, nous, on s'affaire à positionner le Canada de façon enviable dans un environnement économique mondial qui est complexe et certainement incertain.
Any thoughts on your new member, the new member of your caucus?
Well, we'd say welcome. I think what I was saying is that obviously the plan that we have put forward to grow the economy, to empower Canadians, to protect our sovereignty is something that Canadians see themselves in. If you go across the country, people see that in these uncertain times, the geopolitics, geoeconomics of the world, you see more and more people rallying behind. And I'm not surprised to see colleagues which are doing soul searching and say, I want to be at the decision table. I want to be there because, if you just look at the polls, Canadians are behind the agenda we have put forward, the plan that we have proposed to Canadians. The world wants to be more engaged with Canadians. I always say strong at home, strategic abroad, and I think that's what you're seeing, a number of people saying, I want to be part of that journey.
What is the spike in oil prices? Disappointed. Any comment on Mr. Davies' disappointment?
Listen, what I care about is what Canadians think. And Canadians want us to move forward and to engage constructively with everyone who wants to contribute. Many Canadians are knocking on the door saying, I want to be part of that story. They see the world as it is, and they understand that one of the best things is to rally together. This is a time for Canadians to come together, and that's what I think you're seeing across the nation.
What do you say to Canadians who voted for an NDP MP who are now waking up today finding out that they've turned liberal and might be upset about that?
I respect obviously their views and emotions, but what I can say is that Canadians are rallying behind the plan that's been put forward by the government, and I would say many Canadians, you just go across the nation. I travel around the country and, people stop me and say, this is a time for us to come together. This is not a time for division. This is a time for all the ideas to be at the table. People are knocking on the door to say, how can I contribute? I want to be part of that journey where we position Canada for success in very uncertain times. So I would say be part of the journey with us, and we will represent you in the best possible way.
What do you think
Merci.
the spike in oil prices means for the country's economy?
Minister, what do you think of Lori Idlout crossing the floor and joining your team?
Well, happy to have a new colleague.
Is it really fair to get a majority through floor crossings?
Did you play any role at all in getting her to cross the floor?
Lori Idlout crossing the floor. You have a new colleague now.
Well, Lori's a good friend of mine. We did a lot of work together. I've traveled to Nunavut, visited her community, and I'm actually quite delighted. She is an extraordinary parliamentarian and someone who will make a great addition to our team.
What do you know about her decision to...
Good morning. What do you think of Lori Idlout joining your team?
Oh, it's great. She'll be a wonderful addition, very strong advocate for the North and Arctic. So really excited.
Mrs. Idlout is coming from the Liberals. Do you think it's fair that the Liberals might get a majority this way?
She's free to choose as she does, and she chose to join our caucus, and I'm happy to have her on board.
The NDP's interim leader, Don Davies, said that he's disappointed because he feels that if an MP wants to change parties, the voters should decide that there should be an election. What do you say in response to his concerns?
I'm not surprised that he's disappointed. That his statement didn't shock me in any way. But look, if I was Don, I'd be disappointed too, but I'm happy to have Lori on the team, and I'm looking forward to our first caucus meeting with her today.
But what about his point that he thinks there should be
Beg your pardon?
Do you think this means this government runs for another 3 years?
I think we're focused on getting things done. How long it lasts remains to be seen. I hope it does.
But does this give you more stability? I mean, there's going to be 3 by-elections, 2 of which are Liberal strongholds. Are you feeling a bit more confident about the stability of this government than you were a few days ago?
Well, the math is the math. I mean, if we're going to get to 173, if we win all 3 by-elections, then yeah, obviously there's more stability.
You don't seem happy. What's the mood?
It's raining outside. It's cold again. It was sunny yesterday. I am happy. You know why? You know why I'm happy? It's Irish Heritage Month, and I thought that's what all of you wanted to talk to me about. I'm really disappointed in all of you.
Is there a divide in the caucus, Mr. Maloney?
Lori Idlout crossing the floor.
I respect her decision. I understand that it's given the scale of investments we're making in the North, that she... sorry, I'm a little... just going up the stairs. But I think, I understand that MPs from different parties can recognize themselves in the style of leadership that Mr. Carney has brought to Canada. So I think it's a welcome addition to our team. Yeah,
Should we expect more investments in the North now? More of a focus because she's joining the team?
The focus is already there, and I think her perspective and her voice will be useful.
The criticism is that
Thank
this
you.
is undemocratic to the voters of Nunavut. What do you think of that?
In our system, we elect individuals to represent, and we have to trust that these individuals make the best judgment for their constituents, and I think she made the right choice. Thank you.
Est-ce que c'est correct, à votre avis, d'un point de vue démocratique, d'atteindre pratiquement la majorité grâce à aller chercher des transfuges de d'autres partis?
Oui, je pense que la députée Lori, oui, elle a fait de ses choix. Ce sont des choix personnels et puis je pense que elle veut faire partie de la discussion pour ce qui se développe de manière absolument importante et stratégique et essentielle dans le Nord canadien. Merci.
Vous dites que c'est une décision personnelle, mais reste que ces électeurs ont voté pour NDP, non?
What will that have on your party?
Well, the Prime Minister enjoyed the confidence of the House yesterday, and the Prime Minister enjoys the confidence of the House today. But we're looking forward to having another great colleague.
What's your response to Canadians who say that he's manipulating this majority? He didn't win it.
Mr. General, Don Davies said there should be an election if the MP wants to change parties. What do you say in response to that?
Well, I'm really happy to have Lori Idlout join our caucus. I think it's reflective of the fact that the Prime Minister and our team have the ability to attract people of high quality with a tremendous degree of experience who are going to contribute meaningfully to the government. So I'll let Mr. Davies have his opinions, but today I'm focused on the fact that our team has grown, and I'll note as the chair of the Prairie North Caucus that we're now a baker's dozen, and that's 2 additions in the last couple of months, which for my region is a significant degree of contribution that we're going to be able to
Do you
make.
think the government can last another 3 years now?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that question. Oui.
Est-ce que vous avez l'impression que c'est correct, d'un point de vue démocratique, d'atteindre une majorité comme ça en allant chercher des députés dans d'autres partis?
C'est la décision d'une députée, qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent faire. Ils sont élus par les peuples canadiens, canadiennes, partout au pays. Alors aujourd'hui, je suis tellement contente qu'on a un nouveau collègue comme président du Caucus Prairie et Nord. C'est maintenant 13 députés qui nous joindront. Alors c'est une région du pays qui est maintenant même plus fort dans le contexte du gouvernement. Je suis tellement content que Lori va nous joindre.
But what do you say to Canadians who will look and say, the Prime Minister's, the Liberals were elected to a minority. They were not elected to a majority government. They were not given these seats democratically when Canadians chose last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, you understand how our parliamentary democracy works. I think if Canadians react in a large way to what we've seen play out in the context of our politics over the course of the last couple of months and want to have a national conversation about this, I'd certainly be open to that from my perspective. But right now, we have a situation where members of parliament that were elected to serve the best interests of their constituents, in some instances, have come to the determination that the best way that they can do that is to be a part of the government.
You think Canadians are accepting of this or should be accepting of this?
No, I didn't say that. What I said is that if Canadians want to have a national conversation about this in broad numbers, then I think it's certainly appropriate for us to have that conversation. But this is consistent with our parliamentary traditions. And it is up to members of parliament individually who are elected by the people in their respective ridings to determine what they want to do that they believe is in the best interest of those that they represent. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, people elect their MP. They don't actually vote technically for parties. They technically vote for the person in the riding. And look, I think at the end of the day, there are members of parliament who like what our government is doing, and they want to be here on this side at a really important moment in not just Canadian history, but world history. I mean, we're facing multiple crises right now, and I mean, I think what we're seeing is MPs who want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Do you think the government can last another 3 years now?
Well, I always thought the government could last another 3 years. I mean, it's always a challenge in a minority government, but we saw in the last two that we went beyond, the kind of traditional, normal historical timelines. But yeah, we're going to have to see what happens in these by-elections, although I'm pretty confident in what's going to go.
16 caucus colleagues who are intending to vote for this NDP arms control legislation. It's the first time Liberal MPs would be voting against what the government wants. What do you think of that? Does it indicate some division in your policy?
Well, I mean, the Liberal Party has always been a big tent party, and we have, at least since Justin Trudeau was Prime Minister, always said that private members' bills, unless they are, against the Constitution, the Charter, or the Liberal Party platform, that it's a free vote. And so I guess we're going to see what happens today.
Vous aviez été, Madame Gould, ministre.
I will be voting against it. Yeah.
Yeah. Vous avez été ministre, Madame Gould, de la réforme démocratique. Est-ce que vous étiez penchée à l'époque de cette question des transfuges? Est-ce que c'était légitime? Est-ce que c'était démocratique?
On n'a pas eu autant, alors c'était pas vraiment une question, c'est un peu anormal dans l'histoire canadienne, comme il y a comme toujours un ou peut-être deux dans la durée d'un parlement, alors d'avoir 4 jusqu'à date, c'est un peu extraordinaire, mais comme j'ai dit en anglais, je crois que c'est un moment historique dont nous vivons au Canada. Il y a plusieurs personnes, plusieurs députés qui veulent faire partie du solution et qui veulent vraiment travailler ensemble. Alors je crois que ça démontre que nous sommes une grande tente. Il y a d'espace pour des gens. Bien sûr, le Parti libéral, c'est plus centriste, mais un peu plus à la droite, un peu plus à la gauche. Et c'est comme ça qu'on va arriver aux meilleures politiques pour les Canadiens.
The part about what you think is quite extraordinary?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite extraordinary to have this many floor crossers this early in a mandate, or even throughout the duration of a mandate. I mean, typically you might have maybe 1 or 2 throughout the entire duration of a parliament, but I think what it indicates again is that there is an extraordinary moment in which we are living, and it demonstrates again that the Liberal Party is a big tent party, that we're the centrist party, but we have people a little bit more on the right and a little bit more on the left, and that's how we get to the best policies for Canadians.
We see the Canadians who, after the 4 crossings, we go to the ridings, we talk to constituents there, and some of them are quite upset that they voted for someone of a certain party, and they found out the next day that they're now with the Liberal Party. What do you say to those Canadians? Do you understand how they feel?
Sure. I completely understand that. I think, that's a conversation that they need to have with their MP. I think it's also incumbent upon the MP who crosses the floor to explain their decision to their constituents and, to put out the reasons for why they're doing that. And I think what we've heard from all four of them is that, they really want to be part of the solution, and they understand, this really critical moment that Canada and Canadians and the world is going through, and they want to be part of that solution.
Madame Idlout, c'est une femme de gauche. Vous êtes même dans le Parti libéral, plutôt de l'aile gauche. Est-ce que vous vous y retrouvez encore, malgré tout, même quand vous voyez les décisions de M. Carney qui gouverne quand même de façon assez à droite? Est-ce que parfois ça vous irrite ou vous vous sentez un peu coincé dans ce gouvernement-là?
Bon, c'est bien sûr que c'est un gouvernement plus à droite que le dernier gouvernement, mais je crois que c'est quelque chose que les Canadiens ont voulu. Ils ont voté pour ça dans des grandes quantités. Et pour moi, j'ai toujours un espace de lever ma voix et de lutter pour les choses qui sont importantes pour les gens qui sont un peu plus à la gauche. Et je crois que ça, c'est la magie du Parti libéral. C'est qu'on peut ajuster aux besoins du pays à le moment, mais aussi avoir des voix diverses là-dedans pour assurer qu'on n'oublie pas d'où nous venons et les gens qui nous soutenons. Merci. Bonne journée.
Really excited to welcome her to the Liberal Caucus. I've had the chance to work with Lori many times. She's a thoughtful, gracious member of Parliament, and looking forward to working with her even closely.
Is it really fair to get a majority, though, through 4 crossings?
Well, I mean, these are independent members making decisions. Obviously, they really believe in the work that we're doing as a government and the leadership of the Prime Minister, and it's their decision, and we welcome them. Thank you.
Wonderful. She's a great MP, great advocate for her community, great advocate for the North, and it's going to be a wonderful addition to the team. Thanks.
I love crossing 4.
Well, I think it's good for stability. The government will have a mandate to be able to pursue the things that it needs to do as it moves forward. I think it's a good thing, but you'd have to ask her in terms of the motivation. So.
Is it fair for democracy? These voters voted for an NDP MP.
Well, I mean, within a parliamentary system, this is a very normal thing to happen. I think that it shows that the Prime Minister has created a broad tent and is attracting folks from all sides of the House. So.
We welcome Lori. I think she'll be a great asset to our team, and we're looking forward to working with her. And so she's a great advocate for the North, and especially Nunavut, and I think she'll be a great positive asset for the government and the Liberal Caucus.
Yeah, but do you believe it's very democratic for the government to try to seek a majority? I know we are closer to the majority and there are still by-elections, but do you think it's very democratic?
Well, I think people choose their own path. They're elected members of Parliament. They're allowed to choose the party they want, and I think her constituents have spoken to her, and she's chosen to work with the Liberal Party.
Is the caucus supportive of this? Minister Miller, were you involved at all with recruiting Lori? Can you speak to that at all? Were you involved at all with recruiting Lori? Can you speak to that at all?
No, not really.
No? Do you know who was?
If I did, I wouldn't tell you.
That's really shocking. What do you think about having her on your team?
I like Lori. I mean, she's look. I think we have to worry less about who did what and said what, and more about why Lori moved over to the Liberal Party. I think Lori cares very much about Nunavut. I could hear that when I was in Iqaluit a couple of days ago. And it's not easy being an Indigenous member of Parliament. You get pulled in different directions, at least from what I can observe. So I would focus less on why the reasons, but other than the people that she represents and the investments that the Prime Minister is committed to, I think were very important for the North, and that was felt. So that's my reflection on it, but I had nothing to do with it.
What did they, when you were in Iqaluit, what did people tell you while you were there on Liberal investments?
I think they're eager to see, I guess, the rubber hit the road. They're hyped about what some of the investments could look like, particularly some of the major investments. My role there is to support Indigenous arts and culture and language, so sometimes smaller envelopes, but very important for the identity of Inuit. So that is key. I think it's key to Lori as well. But I think people are excited to see the investments in the North that have been promised, and that's I think that factors into Lori's reflection.
Are you gonna have a cameo on North? I saw that they're filming when you were up there.
Yeah, yes. I'm not. I'm a cameo. I happen bizarrely to be very close friends with Zoe Hopkins, who is my Mohawk teacher. So there's a weird crossover there. So I wanted to kind of have a look at what that was like. It's pretty cool. The actors are super cool. So it's great to see that happen.
Okay. Thanks. Up to 16 Liberal MPs voting with the NDP on that.
What role is Canada playing in helping to stabilize global oil prices?
So as you know, the IEA has proposed a 400 million barrel release from the strategic reserves. It's a global, prices are set globally. The way Canada can contribute is being a good supporter of this release. We are in active discussions with our industry about how to do that. We expect to say more in the next day or two, but what I want you to know is Canada will do its part to contribute to the world's supply. That will bring prices down for Canadians. That will keep prices affordable for Canadians.
What are Canadian oil producers telling you when you're talking to them about this, and you said you're in conversation with them? What's the reaction been?
Yeah, so again, Canadian producers want to do their part. There are a number of ways we can do that. We can potentially do that by because we're producing at capacity right now. We're doing our part in the world, but we can do more. We can delay taking downtime, for example. We can, for brief periods of time, peak production, which we're talking to suppliers about doing. We can ask refineries that are using imported oil to use more domestic oil. That will free up supplies in other places. So there's a number of things that we can do. These are things we've done in the past. As you may know, there have been releases before. The last one was in 2022. At that time, we did our part. We've always done our part. We believe in multilateral action. The IEA was set up for exactly this purpose, and we're going to do our part.
Have other countries been calling you about Canadian oil? You mentioned that earlier a few weeks ago, I believe.
Look, the world understands that Canada is a reliable supplier. We believe in multilateralism. We produce our oil in the most environmentally responsible way. In a world where reliable supplies are hard to find, Canada stands out, and so yes, we're getting calls all the time.
Has Canada received requests from countries like India that has serious crisis?
I'm going to let individual countries speak for themselves, but I can tell you we've heard from many countries. They are interested in our oil. They are interested in our LNG. They are interested in our LPG. They're interested in our uranium. What we're seeing today is energy security is national security. Our allies don't have national security right now. We have an opportunity to step up. That's why our Prime Minister is meeting with many of our allies. We have what they want. We can help contribute to a more stable world.
Are any of the Arctic major projects going to be, I guess, approved? Like, I'm just, given Lori has now crossed the floor, I'm wondering what that means for Arctic infrastructure, and if anything had been mentioned to her.
I'll let the Prime Minister's office speak to that.
Thank you very much. Sorry, we have got to go.
Do we have the infrastructure to shift oil supplies to different parts of the country? For instance, getting oil from Alberta to the East Coast, to Halifax, say?
We have different solutions for doing that, yes.
How?
One of them would be rail.
Thank you. We're just
Thank you.
Thank you.
16 Liberal MPs supposedly are going to vote with the NDP on their arms control legislation. How do you feel about that?
I will wait to see what the vote looks like. I'm not going to presuppose the outcome of it. I'm certainly aware that there are colleagues who are having conversations and reflecting on what they want to do, but it's difficult for me to presuppose the outcome of the vote.
And you? How do you
I'll be supporting the government's position, which is to vote against the bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Liberal MPs are thinking about voting with the NDP on their arms control bill. What do you think of that?
I think that it's a bill that is ill-conceived. It does not take into account Canada's trading relationships and the importance of upholding our agreements with our NATO allies. The Arms Trade Treaty, that is the treaty that Canada has ratified, is actually an important milestone, and Canada goes above and beyond the provisions in the Arms Trade Treaty. Countries come to us to emulate our legislation and our rules relating to imports and export permitting. I will say that we are very forward-leaning in terms of our foreign policy vis-a-vis Gaza and the people of Palestine. For example, we have said that Hamas must be demilitarized and can have no role in the future governance of Palestine. We have said that we will continue to be committed to humanitarian aid. We are one of the world's top donors to humanitarian aid for Gaza at $400 million. We have continually ensured that we believe in a ceasefire, and we believe strongly in two states living side by side in peace and security. This is forward-leaning foreign policy. We also have to remember that the future for our government will also be forward-leaning in terms of our foreign policy. But this bill is ill-conceived, it's expansive, it undermines our trade relationships around the world, and it is for that reason that we will be voting against the private member's bill this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joining the Liberal benches this morning.
Obviously, we're very proud, very pleased to welcome Lori. Yep.
Yeah, but do you believe it's very democratic for the government to try to seek a majority through floor crossing? And what are your thoughts on that?
Canadians elect MPs, and they've elected Madame Idlout, just like they elected me and 341 others. And we are sent here to exercise our judgment. The country's at a very important pivot point, and I know that a lot of people are responding to what the Prime Minister is putting forward as a strategy for our country.
Yeah, and is the Liberal Caucus supportive of this decision of welcoming Lori into the Caucus?
Of bringing Lori?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You saw her welcome, and she received an extremely warm welcome this morning. Yep.
Do you think Canada should play in stabilizing oil prices?
Sorry, say again, I didn't catch.
What role do you think Canada should play in stabilizing oil prices?
Well, Canada is one of the world's largest producers of oil, so our role is pretty naturally to maintain production during these troubling times and making sure we're stable supply in a world that lacks stable supply.
Do you think we should ramp up supply?
Well, we're looking to ramp up production. We're trying to build this country. We're looking at additional egress to the West Coast. We are talking about improving our LNG export capacity. That's what many of the major projects are. We are already a reliable source of energy supply. We've increased our energy production 34% since 2015. We've got new infrastructure, and we're going to do more because we've got to be there for our allies, and we've got to do more, and we've got to protect Canadians.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Vous parlez de Mme Idlout. Êtes-vous à l'aise avec la façon d'aller chercher une majorité comme ça, même si les électeurs ont voté pour un autre parti?
Ben, c'est une décision de la députée Idlout qui a été prise, si je comprends bien, en collaboration et consultation avec sa communauté. Elle veut prendre soin de son comté davantage, et je pense qu'on va être davantage capable de l'aider au cours des prochains mois et des prochaines années. Merci.